Welcome to this series of presentations of the BIQ. My name is Edmundo Candelas. I'm a network support engineer for the EMEA region. And today we're going to cover the BIQ Centralized Manager, BIQ Data Collection Device, Initial Setup Configuration. During this presentation, we're going to review a little bit regarding the Centralized Manager and the Data Collection Device. Sorry, we're going to cover the steps in how to do setup of the BIQ, and I'm going to show you how to do the setup in our hands-on lab. The BIQ Centralized Manager is a platform that you use as a tool to help you manage BIP devices and all of their services like the LDM, AFM, DNS, CSM, and so forth. As mentioned before, depending on the size or scale of your network implementation, it's going to be the type for VIQ implementation. In this case, we have an example of a small implementation. We have our VIQ that is using the same network, in this case, the management network, to communicate with the VIPs, to manage the VIPs, uh, and to do everything, the discovery of the VIPs to the same network. The BIQ data collection device is a specially provisioned BIQ system that you use to manage and store alerts, events, and statistical data from one or more BIP systems. Uh, this diagram illustrates a simplified example of how the DCDs add to your BIQ centralized management solution. In this case, it still is a small network implementation, this diagram that we have here. The difference is that we have added our data collection device to our VIQ implementation. As mentioned before in previous slides, you can use the VIQ as you can use only the functionalities of the centralized manager to manage the VIPs or license the VIPs without using the data collection device, or you can use it with the data collection device. The example before this one was without using the data collection device. There are different options that you can choose from to use the VIQ depending on what you want to do. Okay. Also, as mentioned before, we have three types of networks, and we're going to cover these types of implementations. I mean, this type of implementation, the small, medium, and large, in future slides, future presentations. Okay, the setup of the VIQ Centralized Manager. These are the steps. The first step is to configure the management IP. If you have had previously experience with our products like the LTM or GTM DNS, you will see that the process is pretty much the same. At the beginning, you type the config command into the console terminal, and this will display a window to configure the management IP, network, mask address, and management route. After that, you will be able to get access through the network to the BIQ, and you will be displayed with the login window. After that, we're going to license our device. Also, that we will have to we it's better to be aware, or we have to remember, is that when you're importing VIPs into the BIQ, always try to check for the compatibility or if this version of the VIP is supported into the BIQ. I remember that in some cases, when the version 6.0 was released, some customers were complaining that some functionalities weren't working with their BIPs. After going through their data and going through the documentation, I found out that they were importing versions of VIPs that weren't compatible with the BIQ. So that was one of the reasons some of the functionalities weren't working properly. So the solution was just to ask them just to wait for the next release, of the VIQ, so they can import the VIPs that they wanted or roll back the version of the VIQ, so they were compatible with the versions of VIPs they were trying to import into the VIQs. So when importing the VIPs, just have a look at this solution article. In this one, it tells you the compatibility matrix of the VIP with the VIQ, which versions are supported in the version that you are trying to implement, and just to double check that everything is going to be working properly after you import the devices. The first step, we have to choose how the device will function as a centralized manager or as a data collection device. Just to remember that you cannot use the same license for the centralized manager and or the data collection device. If you are going to implement both types of the BIQ, you must have a license for each one of the types for the centralized manager or the data collection device. You cannot use the same license for both of them. Okay. After that, you have to choose the discovery IP or the management IP or the self IP. As mentioned before, depending on your time of the implementation, you can use uh, different networks for the VIQ, for communicating to the VIPs, and for the communication with the data collection device. The next step, we're going to add the network time protocol servers or the DNS server. You can test the services while you are adding these servers into the VIQ. The web interface allows you to make a brief test just to double check that you have reachability between these two services. The next step is to add the master key. The master key is used to encrypt communications between the centralized manager and the data collection device. To generate the master key, the VIQ uses a passphrase. The passphrase has the following requirements: must be 16 characters or longer, must have one or more capital letters, one or more numbers, and one or more special characters. Also, something that we must remember is that if you are configuring an HA and high availability of the VIQ, you must have the same master key in both units. This means that the primary unit is going to use the same master key as the secondary unit, and vice versa. The secondary unit must have the same master key as the primary unit. And also, as this slide is mentioning, if you are configure an implementation of centralized manager that is a BIQ that is centralized manager and data collection device, both devices or all devices that belong to the DCD cluster must have the same master key. Okay, just remember that. If you are using HA, the same master key in both devices. If you are creating a DCD cluster, all the devices, CM DCDs, must have the same master key. Okay, the next step, we add the administrator and root passwords. You define this depending on your network environment or security requirements. Next step is we add the VLANs and the self IPs. As mentioned before, depending on the scale of implementation of the VIQ, you can choose the different networks for the communication with the VIPs, for the communications with the DCDs, VIQs. Okay, after that, the services are going to be restarted. We're going to see the login page. Okay, in this slide, we'll show you how to set up the VIQ Centralized Manager and the VIQ Data Collector device for the first time. Okay, now just give me a minute. I'm going to share with you the console for the VIQ. Okay, this one. Okay, this is a console for the BIQ. And the steps to make the configuration or the initial setup of the BIQ are the same as you do with as with previous products like the LTM or GTM DNS. We type config. This will display the window to perform the setup. We click OK. This is asking us if we want to use an automatic configuration. We choose no because we want to specify our own IP. In this case, our IP is 10.154.66.95. Okay, we click and OK. Now we specify our network, our mask address. Address. This case is 255.55.192.0. We click OK. Then the system is asking us if we want to define a gateway. We say yes. And the gateway, I think it's the same. Then 154.191.254. Yeah, it's the same. Okay, we click and OK. And then it presents with a summary of what are going to be the changes that are going to be applied to the device. In this case, we double check that we have the right IP address. In this case, it's the 10.154.166.95. Double check our network mask address, which is the 255.255.192.0, and our gateway, which is the 10.154.191 and 254. Okay, we click yes. Okay, we wait for a little bit, and yeah, now we have access to our BIQ through the network. Okay, now I'm going to show you the web interface, the BIQ. Okay, give me a second. Thank you. Here it is. Okay, hit enter. And this is the login page that we're going to use to log in into our device. We wait a little bit. Okay, this is where we start with the wizard of the BIQ. We put our license, the license number that you acquire from us, and we're going to relicense the device. In this case, we're going to choose manual because that's what most of you are going to be doing. A manual licensing of the device. We click in Get Dossier. We select the dossier. We go to the F5 website to activate the license. We copy the dossier. Click Next. Okay, the website is going to give us our license that we're going to paste into our BIQ. Paste the license. We make sure to remove any unnecessary spaces. We click on Activate, and the license was activated successfully. Okay, we click in Next. Here is where we're going to choose whether we're going to use the BIQ as a central management or as a data collection device. Depending on the type of implementation you are doing, you choose one or the other. Okay, in this case, we choose central management. Click on next. Here, you add the host name of the device. In this case, let's call it VIQ CM.co.uk, for example. Just double check the IP address and you choose the discovery address, whether you are going to use the management address for the discovery of the devices or a self IP. We click on next. And now we have to define the DNS services or an NTP services. In this case, my DNS server, let's see, use this one, let's say to use that one, and our NTP server, this one, we have the option to test the connectivity to the server. We tested and we see that succeed. We can test the NTP server as well, and it succeed again, succeed as well. You choose the time zone. In this case is America, Los Angeles, California, because the virtual machine that I'm using is located in in the time zone of LA in America. We click next. Now we have to define the master key. The master key, as mentioned before, must be minimum 6 characters or longer, must contain one capital letter, one lowercase, one or more numbers, and one or more special characters. Once you choose your passphrase, you can just paste it, confirm that passphrase, click next, and the device is just applying the master key. As mentioned before, just remember that you must use the same master key in the HA if you are configuring HA, and if you are configuring a DCD cluster, you must use the same master key for all your devices, including the CM and DCD. Okay, the master key was applied successfully. We click in close. And now we have to define the administrator passwords. In this case, in this one, this one. Okay, we click next. Okay, after we have defined our passwords for the admin account and the root accounts, we're going to be displayed with a summary of the changes that are going to be applied to the VIQ. Just double check that everything is in place, that we have our discovery IP, our DNS servers, NTP servers, um, and what active modules. The active modules are just are depending on the license that you apply. For example, if you're going to use the VIQ just to apply licensing, then you will only see licensing here. In this case, because we have a full license, well, we have the licensing manager and the full management of the big IPs. In this case, I'm managing only 2 big IPs. That's what these two mean. That is because this the type of license I apply. If I apply a license to manage these 100 devices, well, we'll see that in the active modules. Okay. Type of system, central management. Okay. Once we have double check or that everything is in place, we click in launch, and the services are going to be restarted. To complete the setup process, services must be restarted. You will be logged out, will be briefly unable to log in until services finish restarting. Okay, we agree to this. We click on restart, and the device is going to take a couple of minutes to come back. Okay, click on logout, and now we just wait. Okay, once the device has come back, we log in with our admin credentials. As we can see, the changes have been applied. We have our host name. Okay, well. Okay, let's wait for the device to load. Yep, that's it. We can see the changes have been applied. We have our host name, IP address, the time, the Pacific time zone, and we have finished our initial setup from the scratch of the VIQ centralized manager. Okay. Later in future presentations, we're going to talk about each one of these tabs: application, devices, deployment, configuration, and monitoring. Okay. Well, this our summary. We give a little review of the VIQ centralized manager and the data collection device. Also, we saw the steps in how to do the setup, the initial setup, and I show you how to do it in our hands-on lab. Appendix, useful links. If you want to know more about the discovery and device management, you can go to our website in our in our manuals at fi support.com. If you want to know more about the API of the F5, you can go to this link below, and also you can know more about the manuals of the. If you want to know more about the VIQ, you can go to our website and select our manuals in this link below. Centralized Management 001 Knowledge Center. Okay. Well, thank you for your time during these presentations, and hope to see you next time.